My friends always ask me, how do two people stay in love in just 8 square meters? How are you not killing each other every day? I swear, some were convinced we wouldn't last 6 months living in a van 24/7. But here we are, over a year later, still together, still choosing each other every day. This is what I learned about love.
I am covered in your love.
So, what is love?
That I'm reminded just how beautiful you are. Even when my faith is falling.
So, what is love? To me, love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice, a habit, a practice. And simply put, it's the most important thing in the world. There is no meaning without love. Love is the greatest force in the universe. Love is part of all of us. It can never be fully defined, but it's the answer to everything. It's like an eternal flame. Don't you feel it? Love is the only thing in this world that does not hurt. I've been asked a few times what makes our relationship work so well. And honestly, I don't think there's just one answer. It hasn't always been like this, but over time, I learned a few things that keeps love stronger. Today, it's Valentine's Day, and it's actually our 10th Valentine's Day together. I've been with Liam 1/3 of my life, which it's hard to believe for me. So I thought it's the perfect day to share my thoughts on romantic love and tell you about how we handle conflicts living in such a small space, how we keep the spark alive, how we keep it real, and how we keep choosing each other every day. Okay, a bit of context. Liam and I come from different cultures, and to be honest, that was one of the biggest challenges in our relationship. For the first 2 years, we had many arguments. So no, I don't think relationships are inherently easy, but I also learned that it's up to us how complicated they become. For example, when you move into an 8 square meters van and you spend 24/7 together, maybe then you are asking for troubles. This is an advice that Leon gives to people now. He thinks that before getting married, you should live with the other person in a van. Because if you cannot tolerate each other, maybe you shouldn't get married. That's his thoughts. I don't have a present for Liam, so I'm going to make chocolates. I made them for his birthday and he absolutely loved them. I tried to make chocolate from scratch a few times and it's quite hard. So now what I do is I buy dark chocolates like this ones. We like the dark chocolate, so. Long ago, in the heart of Rome, a man named Valentine dared to believe in love when the world forbade it. Some say he wed lovers in secret, defying an emperor. Others tell of a prisoner who, before his final breath, left a note signed, "From your Valentine." Legend or truth, his story carries the same message: love cannot be forbidden. Perhaps even the earth knows this secret. In February, the birds choose their mates, filling the air with soft songs of devotion. As winter fades, love awakens in the skies, in the branches, in hearts waiting to bloom. And so we send letters, gifts, and words of affection, carrying on a tradition as timeless as love itself. I think Valentine's Day has kind of become one of those big consumerist shopping days where love starts to feel like a transaction. Like the bigger the gesture, the bigger the love is. And then you have the other side, the people who says, I don't celebrate Valentine's Days because love should be celebrated every day, not just one day. And they're right, but personally, I take any opportunity to celebrate love. Because that's how you keep the spark alive. You take every opportunity to do something a little special. It's not about expecting expensive gifts or grand gestures. Love doesn't need to be fancy, just small, thoughtful moments. The kind that remind the other person, I see you, I appreciate you. Maybe it's cooking their favorite meal or taking time to slow down together, to talk, to reflect. It's in the way you listen, even when you heard the story before. The way you show interest in something you don't really care about just because they do. The way you celebrate their victories as if they were your own. The way you try new things just to make them happy. This is how you keep the love alive. People also ask us how we don't get bored with each other spending so much time together. And to be honest, it's not about doing something new every day. It's about doing the things that you both love over and over again. We could have the same conversations about life, love, growth 1,000 times and we'd never get tired of it. When we were back in London, almost everyone asked me the same question. How do we deal with conflicts living in such a small space? And to be honest, I was a bit surprised of how many times people asked me this question. But now thinking about it, I guess I haven't considered how it looks from the outside to be together 24/7, living in a small space all the time. I know it probably sounds like a recipe for a disaster. But the truth is, I love spending time with him because we spend so much time outside, it actually doesn't feel like we are on top of each other all the time. But it wasn't always like this. When we first moved in together, it was challenging. I don't have another room to storm off to when I'm upset. So we have to learn fast that avoiding problems wasn't an option. The only way to make this work was through communication. This was always important for us, but now, more than ever, it's everything. There's not a shortcut for a healthy relationship. You have to talk things, you have to listen, you have to take criticism, and probably the hardest thing, you have to let go of the ego. We fight, of course we do, but we've learned that a good relationship isn't about never fighting. It's about how you react during and after the fight. It's about asking yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to understand? Because at the end of the day, we are on the same team. Winning an argument means nothing if it makes the other person lose. Because we share everything. Liam is my best friend, and when my boyfriend annoys me, I tell my best friend about it. And since they are the same person, there is a lot less miscommunication there. I feel like one of the biggest problems in relationships comes from not talking enough, from assuming instead of communicating. Because here's the truth, they can't read our minds, especially guys. As women, we sometimes expect our partners to just know what we want. We want them to suggest the thing we already wanted without us having to ask. We expect them to magically know why we are upset without explaining it. We think if they loved us enough, they just know. But that's not how it works. Let me know if you're guilty of this too. This took me a long time to understand. Something I learned is men say what they think, women say how they feel. And that small difference, it changes everything. But the most important thing is talking about this stuff, understanding not just what we say, but what we actually mean in arguments. I used to expect Liam to read my mind, but now we've come a long way. We are a lot more honest and direct with each other, although it's always a work in progress. But if now I tell him I don't want to see you, he knows I don't actually mean it. He knows I mean I'm upset and I want you to show some affection so I can move on. And that understanding changes everything. Something that I learned is that an emotion only lasts up to 2 minutes. So if I'm mad longer than 2 minutes, it's not an emotion anymore. I'm deliberately deciding to be angry. And that's something that I try to remind myself every day, because it's not easy to give yourself only 2 minutes to get over it. We are gonna go to the town in a bit and have food there. We haven't been in a while, and I'm quite excited to go and feel the vibe.
It's easy to become dependent on each other, especially when you spend so much time together. Your partner can become your everything. Your person for advice, for fun, for comfort. And while that closeness is beautiful, love doesn't mean losing yourself. Although we are inseparable, and I love that. But in our 10 years together, there have been times when we've had to focus on our own things, work, personal goals, or even living in different countries for a while. But when love is strong, independence doesn't pull you apart. It gives you more to bring back to each other.
Probably the best relationships aren't about being inseparable, but they aren't about being completely independent either.
They're about balance and being okay with a bit of both. I feel like I read books through him, I learn about new podcasts through him, and he does the same with me. And somehow that makes us feel closer. Because independence isn't about needing a space. It's about knowing you could take a space if you needed to, but most of the time you simply don't want to. That's how I see it anyway. I'm sure you have your own take on this, so share it in the comments.
So we were just saying that when a couple have completely different interests, they can become really independent, and then it's easy to grow apart. It gets harder to tolerate each other's differences. It gets harder to compromise. It gets harder to do something that the other person likes just because it's really far away from what you like. But when you share, even if it's just a little, and you keep growing and learning together, then it's when love feels really easy.
Summer, the empire at our fingertips, the autumn to discover. If I would have had the worthiness to be the perfect lover, would you stay under the willow tree when I asked if you would be? Would you be my Valentine?
I was just talking with Liam, and I asked him what it means for him unconditional love, and he said, knowing that no matter what bad moments you have, the love that you feel for the other person won't disappear. And I really like that, but I think I will add something else. For me, unconditional love is not saying I will accept you how you are 100%. I wouldn't change anything. And it's not either saying I will love you no matter what, just purely based in emotions or feelings, because emotions can change. So for me, unconditional love has to be something a lot bigger than that. It has to be a decision, a choice. I will accept you how you are, but let's be real, I will also try to change the things that I don't like about you. I know that because I'm human. And I think in one way or the other, we all try to influence the people that we love. And I can't expect you to change, but at the same time, you cannot expect me not to try. In the same way, I want to be accepted how I am, but I'm also open to change and evolve. But that's the thing, unconditional love is not about controlling or expecting. It's about trusting, knowing that no matter what emotion I'm having, my love for you won't disappear. Because love, it's not just about how you feel, it's also about how you show up. And I believe unconditional love has to come from both sides. It cannot be a one-sided thing. It cannot be just giving without receiving. I think it's about people choosing each other every single day, not because they have to, but because they want to. Because when you choose something based in principles, trust, and bigger than just emotions, you know that running away and quitting everything, it's not an option. Breaking up, it's not an option. Because you chose each other based on one part of you knowing very deeply that that was the right person for you, not just only for today, but for always. How do you know if you are in a healthy relationship? I think the best relationships feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally. There's no toxic jealousy, no need to check the other person's phone, no second guessing their intentions. You trust them and they trust you. And that trust isn't just about not cheating, it's deeper than that. It's about knowing you can be fully yourself, without fear of judgment, criticism, or control. A healthy relationship should feel easy, and not because there are never problems, but because you know that no matter what happens, you are on the same side. You don't have to walk on eggshells, you don't have to prove your worth. You are allowed to be who you are completely. For me, it's also about respect. I feel lucky to be with someone who cares about equality, who doesn't dismiss my feelings, who doesn't use our differences as an excuse to be stubborn or superior. A man who understands that being a couple doesn't mean I should fit into some backwards, sexist, outdated rule, but that we should grow together, side by side. Because love isn't about control, it's about partnership. At the end of the day, a healthy relationship isn't about how often you say I love you or how many years you've been together. It's about how safe you feel, how respected you feel, how easy it's to just be yourself and know that's enough. What does love mean to you? Have you ever experienced unconditional love?